And that's us. Nathan, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for taking the time and jumping on.
No problem, Brandon. Pleasure as always.
Pleasure as always. You say that, but not during the finishers normally.
Oh no, definitely not during finishers, especially not today. It was
a bit brutal, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. It was a bit over the top.
Yeah, a bit over the top. For those of you who want to know, guys, it was 20 kettlebell squats, 20 swings, 20 deadlifts, 20 gorilla rows, and then 20 burpees, all within 4 minutes for the AM this morning. So rough stuff. That's the kind of stuff that's got Nathan in the shape of his life. So Nathan, if you don't mind, I'm just going to go on a little bit of a rant here about you really briefly, just letting the guys know, at least from my perspective, your journey so far. And so a couple of stats on Nathan. So far as I'm aware, he's a member since July 2022. His weight loss initially was 15.5 kilo in 10 months. That's 33 pounds or 2.4 stone. We did back in the day the level method, and Nathan graded from yellow, which would be considered pretty novice-y, all the way to blue, which would be considered, at least in my book, an athlete, an intermediate athlete level performance. Currently, right now, in the new Fight and Fit studio, he is bench pressing 87.5 for a 1 rep max. Am I right?
Yeah.
Stop me if any of these numbers exceed, or if you exceeded any of these numbers that I have on record. Back squat 142.5. And then deadlifting 172.5, overhead pressing 50 kilo. And then I was also interested or curious as to, have you any kind of 5K or 10K PBs that you're particularly proud of?
Off the top of my head, not that I can necessarily think of.
We 5K PB?
My 5K PB, 24:40.
Good, yeah, solid,
Yeah,
really solid.
Pretty good. Yeah, sorry, now that I think about it, yeah, no, that's
that's badass.
Yeah, I was happy with that.
Plenty of people right now with a 30-minute 5K to go listening, going, Nathan, you humble man. And so this is it. So again, this man can lift. He's lost the weight. He has been super consistent since 2022. So he lost that weight. Again, for those who's curious, a 10-month time frame. This man has done everything we've asked him to do. And in a recent conversation, that was his secret. Just do what he's told. And it's working well, Nathan.
Yeah, no, that's exactly. I know I said that to you recently. It just literally just do what I'm told, and it's worked. So why would I change anything?
That's harder than you might think for a lot of people.
Yeah, well, I can understand that. Yeah, I suppose it just depends what gets thrown up at you. But yeah, for the most part, it's just knuckle down and stick to the plan. Like, you can fall off track, but you just got to get back on track then.
100%. It's that difficult and that simple.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Just listen, if you fall off track, just get back on track.
It's simple. Yeah, easy.
Yeah, simple. So first question for you, Nathan. How did you hear about Fight and Fit? What kind of got you interested in the Fight and Fit route?
I think I saw Sam on Instagram. She said that she had some PT sessions available around that time when I joined, around July. And I had been thinking about different things and stuff, and I decided, right, I'll jump at that, because the idea of doing the one-on-ones and stuff kind of appealed to me at the time, more so than trying to get back into like an open gym or something like that. So I thought, yeah, this feels like the right opportunity. And cool. I had probably a few times before that actually seen like one-on-ones available and nearly done it, and then taught myself out of it, which, looking back on it, is just stupid. But yeah, I eventually decided to pull the trigger on that one. So that's what. Good man.
Nice. So obviously, did you know Sam from kind of outside Fight and Fit? Did you go to school or?
No. There was there just happened to be a connection there on Instagram at some point. Cool. I don't really where it happened, when it happened, but yeah.
Hashtags are powerful.
Yeah, something yeah, I don't know.
Class. So, and then obviously you're talking about getting back into an open gym. Were you kind of training prior to Fight and Fit? Were you playing sports growing up? Was it just kind of open gym work? What was your kind of training history prior to Fight and Fit?
There wasn't too much sports. Like, I wouldn't have been in a team, or I wouldn't have done any of that sort of stuff. Like, I would have been messing about on my own, like in the garden playing football and stuff. But gym wise, I kind of got into it at the end of 2019, start of 2020. I was in a gym just with a wee plan and firing away on my own, and I was enjoying it at the time. But then obviously, COVID hit and everything shut down, and I just fell away from it completely. And then I think part of the struggle for getting back into it was the idea of going into kind of large groups again as well, you know, or just I got so used
Yeah.
to there was basically 2 years there where you weren't necessarily interacting with that many people for good reason. And
Mhm.
I think it was just difficult to convince myself to go back into that sort of environment at the time. So that contributed to it as well.
That was for not going into the back to big gyms.
Yeah, just the idea of it just being completely open and stuff like that. Yeah, it didn't appeal to me at the time.
Fair enough. So yeah, something just one on one, that was kind of the appeal then. So you think that had to do with why you decided to go the one on one route?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think it just felt better at the time. I think I was more comfortable with the idea of it, especially for getting back started again, at least.
Yeah.
And that would have been the thought at the time, like I give this a go and see if I can kind of reignite that spark in me to do it. And well, here we are 2 years later, so it obviously worked.
Yeah, big time. And something I would just like again for everybody to know, because it might seem, again, like let's go over the numbers here. A bench press of 87 and a half, a back squat of 142 and a half, a deadlift of 172 and a half, and an overhead press on a seat, 50 kg overhead. Like those numbers are absolutely no joke. They are not, you can't just Mickey Mouse those numbers. Like that's serious consistency, a a strong foundation to build to getting lifts like that. Like that's not, like I said, it's not Mickey Mouse. I've trained athletes who are, GA players, boxers, all this kind of stuff. Lots of athletes are not capable of just pulling those numbers out of their hat. And so obviously again, like really, really good intermediate athletes probably could, but that's the kind of level of condition that we're talking about. And so you started at Fighting Fit. Like, how would you describe your initial starting fitness level and strength?
I don't think there was really much there, to be honest. Trying to remember back, like I actually I can kind of actually remember the first kind of foundation session. I remember getting off the rower. I think the rower was one of the first things I had to do. It was like just 5 minutes on a rowing machine. That's all I had to do straight off the bat. And I remember getting off it and Sam going, "Are you okay? Do you need a break? We'll move on next thing." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine." Literally couldn't see a thing. Stars. I was like, "I can't breathe. Nothing's right. This is not good," you know. But like, yeah. So I don't think it was in a good way at the time, fitness wise.
Yeah.
Like,
So very poor conditioning, let's say, on that end.
yeah, 100%.
And then what about like kind of push ups, pull ups, running? Like what was your output like? Were you able to do push ups? Just kind of like, was that normal for you, or was it kneeling push ups initially?
Uh, I might have been able to get like a few push-ups, but I know at the start it was a struggle to get like any sort of maybe we were working on even just getting 5 consistently, then trying
Yeah.
to get more than that. But we worked on that a lot. Thinking back to it, like it was actually a struggle for a good while. Surprisingly, when I was trying to remember back, I was like, yeah, that really was a struggle compared to what it is now. Like,
Yeah, even to be able to just pull out 5 push-ups though, as again, maybe from your perspective, doesn't seem too impressive. But for me, I'm kind of looking at what did you bring to the table into Fighting Fit, and to be able to do 5, like I would say, either means that you're wiry, a bit like myself. Most wiry people will be able to kind of bang out pull-ups just because they're not pushing much. And then the alternative is that you've done your due diligence in the gym, and so you had a little bit of training prior. 2 years before that, prior to the COVID release, 2019, for a year you were training, and so probably stood to you kind of coming in, even though you might have been conditioned. You kind of had some strength, and then you're obviously kicking around, playing football, sprinting, maybe after the ball and that kind of stuff. So somewhat athletic, but not conditioned. Would that be a fair description?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that sounds about right.
Yeah, cool. Because again, yeah, it is. It's because again, like there's some people and they've been training for 6 months and they can't do 5 push-ups.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so some natural ability, no doubt about it. And your approach to Fighting Fit initially was not just the foundations, but you were at one-on-one training for a period of time, weren't you?
Yeah, like I know the normal route is you do your foundations 5 sessions, you jump straight into the group sessions. But I think at the time I had found doing the one-on-ones like really beneficial, and I just thought I'd actually like to stick at this for a bit longer rather than throw myself into it. Um, So that's what I did. I just thought, well, I'm the one that's making the decision here, so I can kind of do it if I want to do it, and that's what I did.
Yeah.
Like for a good few months, might have thrown
Yeah,
in the odd session, the odd group session, but for the most part, it was PTs 3 times a week. Yeah,
yeah. Really cool and interesting to see you kind of coming from the PTs into the group, because as I said, from the coaching end of things, I'm normally used to getting people who've done 4 sessions and they kind of come into the group. But for yourself, having you do that block of training, like it is a rare enough instance where people will come into a group session already fit, and so like you made an impression from the early days, because obviously like you didn't come in bloody swinging, but you come in really fit and conditioned because you'd, again, not to repeat myself, but done your due diligence, even before fighting fit, and then once you come in, a clear kind of pattern of building out a really, really solid base before we kind of start stacking high. And that's really smart. And it has stood to you and has been a consistent kind of theme with you. Again, we're going to build out the base where, it's nothing crazy impressive in terms of regular, just intense sessions, more so 70-80%, super consistent, super diligent. And again, that's what makes the big impact in the long run, because there's this intensity because of a drive, but there's also this holding back from being way too crazy because of humility and good sense. And so again, like, that is what it takes. And every once in a while, obviously, showing the fuck out and pushing the pace and that kind of stuff, but again, just generally pushing hard but not too hard, and being consistent for months and years at a time. That's kind of been how I've seen your journey so far, and it's that's what we look for as coaches. Like, I don't need anybody to break themselves every session. In fact, it's probably not wise or advised. Every once in a while, yes, no problem. But the alternative as well, it's like people who just, they're not consistent, they're in and out. Obviously, again, like, how it goes. And so you're a success story, and that's why you're on the podcast. Consistency really, really, really does trump everything else, but so does that intense drive and want. And so where does that kind of come from you? Like, why did we decide to be so consistent? I suppose, was your pain point before you joined Fighting Fit? What was the goal initially to kind of improve or change?
Well, I think when I decided to join, it was really like a weight loss thing rather than a fitness thing. I think I probably tried at the time to pretend it was just, oh yeah, it's just fitness. I don't think I had really probably accepted that I needed the weight loss as well
Okay.
until after maybe joining, and then it was like, right, no, this is actually what it is really. Like, then after that, like, obviously, like, I did lose the weight, but then the drive was just to keep, I don't know, just keep going. Like, I think I just enjoy it so much, and I enjoy the routine, and I enjoy just pushing, and I don't know, it just works for me
Yeah.
to want to just keep going, and I don't see why there's no point in like letting off really. I don't know if that
Yeah, of
makes
course. I mean, like,
sense.
yeah, no, you're getting big benefits from the sessions, like 100%. Like, your body's changed, your performance has changed. Chances are that that's drawn in a whole pile of confidence, and that's why I was kind of questioning about that pain point. Like, what's different with you now that before Fighting Fit, or again, like, obviously, listen, Fighting Fit, go Fighting Fit, but before your transformation happened, like, what is different about you now that you're just like, you wouldn't sell for love nor money? Like, what's changed for you? What's the biggest difference that you're like, oh, thank God it's not X anymore. Thank God I'm now Y.
Um, I think maybe I'm just well, yeah.
Like, because here's the thing that a lot of
Yeah,
people dance around, and kind of what you were dancing around initially, in my opinion. And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
yeah,
like, how you look for one,
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
having some physical confidence. Like, you're muscle bound now, and that's probably not something that you could have said, 2 years ago.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. I was kind of jumping around the idea of saying, I think I do
God
feel,
forbid I should want to look nice.
I think I do feel more confident in myself. Like, just maybe it is just appearance wise. I don't know. Maybe you lose that without realizing you lose that, and then when you get it back, it's like, oh, that's maybe that is what was in the back of my head for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely say I'm more confident in myself, I think.
Yeah. And a big part of confidence for me, and again, you can tell me if I'm right or wrong, is that you are the type of person now that gets your shit done. You know, it's like we all know in our head and just in our heart of hearts that I should be looking after my nutrition. I should be exercising. I should be active. I should be going to bed on time. I should be hydrating. I should be eating me bloody vegetables. And we're not doing the things, or a lot of people aren't doing the things, and some of the times they are, and some of the times they're not. The act of getting the things that need done, saving financially, putting in a little bit of overtime, doing a little bit of study, spending time with your families, all things that we know just move us in a positive direction. And at least on the health and fitness side of things, you every single day get that shit squared away. You don't have to worry about that. And I feel like there is a sense of dread and insecurity that comes with just not covering that base. And so moving away from that is super, super powerful for me anyway.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Like I think it's become nearly part of my lifestyle. More, a lot of the aspects of stuff you mentioned there, like the nutrition and all this sort of stuff, before joining I wouldn't have even really. You're not tracking it, so you're not thinking about it. Like obviously you're eating, like I mean, and you're drinking and stuff, but you're not thinking about what effect it has on you. And then when you start tracking, you get into it, you realize the benefits of getting these things right. And then eventually it transitions to you're not even thinking about it anymore. It's just what you do. It's lifestyle, and I don't have to think about it really anymore. The majority of the time. I mean, there are times when you do have to think about it, but a lot of the time it's just I know what I'm doing.
Automatic.
Yeah, it just happens. Like it's the routine, and routine is something that I'm probably pretty good at. And this is probably just something that fits that personality trait kind of right.
So speaking of personality traits, we're gonna merge now a couple of themes. So in our coaching philosophy, there is two types of clients generally. There is chefs and there is bakers, and you are quite literally a baker. All right. So a baker, for those who want to know, a chef is somebody who puts their own flair on things. They create their own recipes to do things their own way. Me, unfortunately, I am a chef. It is a bit of a pain in the arse because if you give me a plan, I will look at the plan and then I will change the plan and I will not follow the plan and I will probably lose the plan. That's kind of what a chef does. The great things about chef is that they can be creative. They can be dynamic. When a problem arises, they could probably shift it and make it work for them. But consistency is not a chef's strongest suit. Discipline is not a chef's strongest suit. They see fitness and nutrition as an art rather than a science. And then there's the bakers, and these people can follow a bloody recipe. And so if you give them a recipe and say, this will lead to success, bake it, they'll go, done. Say no more. Give me this. But the issue with bakers is that sometimes is that there can be a complication that arises. And if it's not on the recipe, it can cause a little bit of stress and panic, and they might need a new recipe. What about this? What exactly do I do? But so you are a baker. Would you agree or disagree with that statement?
I would agree with that. It's actually way too spot on for my liking, actually.
There you go.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. I never heard that one before, but yeah, no, it definitely applies, I think, in this situation.
Excellent. And you're also a baker.
Yeah, quite literally, yeah. So
quite literally. You've got a business, you've got a company. What's the crack with that? Do you want to tell the guys a little bit that? Are you sharing the business? Is that kind of what you're about?
Yeah, we can if you want. Yeah, it's just a wee baking business, short and sweet patisserie, and just baking from home on the side, kind of cakes and treats and stuff.
Yeah, your page is great. All your stuff looks amazing, and you gave us some of the stuff for Christmas and rebox. It was amazing, really, really nice.
Thank you very much. Yeah, no, it was something that just started kind of just in COVID times as well, just decided to try something different to give this a go, and yeah, still doing it now. So yeah, just pushing away at that too.
How do you find the balance between the baker's dozen and fitness and weight loss?
Well, I mean, you need to try everything. You know what I mean? I can't be giving anyone anything that I haven't already tried out. So you
This
just
is it.
got to balance these things.
So you factor into your calories.
It's
It's baker's dozen. It doesn't exist.
No, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it's it's a necessity. It doesn't matter how many calories are on it.
Yeah, this is it. Business is business.
Yeah, 100%.
And here's, I'm doing it for work. Don't talk to me. These are my work calories.
I just pretend it never happened yet. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, listen, it's working. You've definitely found a balance, and I suppose that would be, something to at least say to anybody listening. Is like, listen, don't sweat the little things for the most part. If 90% of your picture is right, like, listen, a little treat, a little this, a little that, and sometimes people focus too much on the minute details when actually, it's about the habits. It's about the things that you're doing automatically. If you're going about behaviors automatically that are positive, you're generally going to be okay. And if you're, again, when you go into autopilot, or when the autopilot and the stress comes on and you go into automatic behavior, if we start reaching for behaviors that kind of move us away from our goals, well, then they are generally considered negative habits. And so, yeah, obviously that wouldn't be ideal. So next for you, what are your fighting fit goals? Actually, no, before I get to that, probably worthwhile just mentioning you have a non-fighting fit goal, which kind of paired with fighting fit. You're moving off to do a High Rocks now in September, so we're kind of going down the cardio weightlifting route, and you're taking on your next challenge. You're doing it with a really fit fighting fit member, Mairead McMahon. And so tell us a little bit more about that. How did you get roped into that? Was it your idea? What happened?
I think it was probably a joint idea. I suppose we can both take the credit for each other's misery on that one.
Lovely.
Yeah, no, it was just something that probably a year ago I never even would have considered doing. I'm pretty sure we both laughed at Eamon when he told us he was doing it last year and what it actually involved, and the idea of doing it was just crazy. But yeah, here I am now this year, getting ready to do it. Yeah, so a few more months, November, we'll get it done, and I'm really looking forward to it. Actually, it's nice to have a kind of a goal that's not just like lifting something heavier than I lifted it the last time. Like like they're great,
Yeah.
but you kind of get to a point where yeah, that's fine, but it's nice now to be doing something
It's
completely
like a
different.
novel challenge.
Yeah, like you're just pushing, like I'm pushing myself in a different way, which is nice, and it's requiring different kind of levels of training and stuff. And no, I think it's good. It's a good challenge to have.
So what changes have you made to your training routine and schedule now to kind of supplement the High Rocks event?
There's more running involved. Like I'm running at the minute, kind of like once a week anyway. But then there's extra training that I'm doing, high rock sessions that involve a lot of running. And that's the main element of like high rocks. So it's got to be done. It wasn't something I was that into or doing much of before, kind of the last few months maybe. The running side. So yeah, it's challenging, but I've started to enjoy the running now as well. Like at the start, maybe I wasn't too fussed on it, but it is something now that I am getting into, and yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, I honestly love running. I think running is it's one of those things that is like it's much like everything else. It's like lifting weights. It's like work. It's like if you take on too much, it's not going to be enjoyable, you know. And most people like progress. That's kind of something that I found is like I get addicted to progress, and I find that if you can set enough milestones up, you could make things enjoyable. Like most people don't mind squeezing if it's worth it. You know what I mean? It's like, listen, I'll do a couple extra hours, but not for a five or an hour. You know what I mean? Fucking, make sweeten the pot a little bit here, no problem. And so again, like if you're running and you know it's gonna benefit you in some way, and that benefit is short enough away that you're like, I'm going to enjoy that milestone very soon. Well, then it's like, okay, well, I'm pushing for this. And so, you've got Mairead, she's relying on you, you're kind of leveraged in. And so every run that you have is, okay, I'll perform a little better on that day. And I have to perform on that day because I'm locked in. And so
Yeah.
again, it becomes this thing now where as opposed to just getting out for a run, I don't like running. I want to lose weight. Okay, can I lose weight without running? Probably. All right, well, I maybe just won't do this then. Oh, it hurts my feet, or hurts my knees, or hurts my back. It's like, okay, fair enough. But if I said to you, the only way you're ever going to get in fit or in shape and fit is if you run. It's like, okay, well, maybe I'm going to start approaching this a little bit differently. I mean, I'll take on smaller goals, whatever. So it's like once we actually commit to something and decide to do it, you can find a way to enjoy it. And except for maybe the entire High Rocks event. Like there is some things that are just going to be brutal no matter where you slice it, but that doesn't mean that, you know, objectively you didn't enjoy it. Maybe just at the time it was a bit miserable, but again, looking back, it's going to be an amazing experience. And that's again the way with fitness. Like some of my favorite workouts and favorite fitness memories are when I'm absolutely dying in the pit of despair, and knowing that I brought myself to that place and managed to come out of it and come out the far side. It's like that's such an amazing experience. So something to look forward to.
Yeah, 100%. It's very rare that you feel the enjoyment while you're doing these things, because it is rough, but it's always after that it feels 100% worth it once you've pushed yourself through it. Because even with just basic running, mentally it's quite tough. Maybe for some people it's not. They're just zoned in.
Cycles.
They're psychopaths, yeah. But a lot of the time you have to talk yourself through it a lot. I find out myself. I like even after 1K, my brain's trying to tell me like, why are you doing this? Like this is just silly. So the fact that you can make yourself get through the 5K or the 8K and get through the other side, it's resilience. There's resilience in there that maybe you don't think is there, and I think that's quite a nice feeling at the end of the day.
Big time, 100%, exactly. Yeah, knowing that you listen, I stuck it out and I held out big time. Do you have any specific targets, kind of for running or for lifting, that you'd like to hit before High Rocks? Do you have kind of anything specific that you're, oh, I'd like to be able to squat this, and I'd like my 5K time or my mile time to be X or whatever?
I don't think I have anything like necessarily too specific, like especially with the weightlifting. I'm just happy every time. Like obviously we periodically kind of test those things, and I'm happy with small progressions at this stage. Like the numbers you read out are high, so I'm happy with an extra 2.5 kilos, 5 kilos or something. Like every time, like
Big time.
that's got to be the goal at this point. Like there's no point in aiming super high.
That's
I don't.
amazing. That's
Yeah,
really good. I like that. It's a great perspective.
and that's the same with the running. Like I don't like the best time that I gave you earlier, the 24:40. Like I did that a wee while ago, and I've not really come that close to it again. So maybe aiming to build on that would be something. But even
24:30.
yeah, I mean yeah, you just got to make basic improvements. I mean it doesn't have to be instant. Small improvements over a long period of time, and that's you're gonna get where you want to be. So yeah.
You know, that kind of answers my next question, which is, what are your current fighting fit goals? So 2.5 kilo more across every lift.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I think I have a silly goal of a 100 kilo bench press that I'm regretting putting on, but eventually that
Nice.
should come around. It just
Good. So we
doesn't
do have a
feel
big
very
goal.
nice. Yeah, it is a big goal, but yeah, eventually I'll get there. Yeah.
No, I do like lofty goals. Because that actually again brings me on to my next question. Is there anything that you've absolutely exceeded from your initial goals or expectations? Or again, like, was there a goal that you're like, listen, I'd be happy with this, and now you're like, fuck, jeez, I'm 10 miles away from that, like in a good way?
Um, I would say the deadlift. Just I don't think there's any world where I would have said 2 years ago that I'd deadlift 172 and a half ever.
Badass. That's cool.
You know what I mean? I don't think I could have
Yeah.
even foreseen that happening. Like it is a great, like it's just mad to think about it. Yeah, I was looking back on a couple of the old goals that I had, and at one point it was like 85 kilos for five, and that would have been a massive deal at the time. That was obviously a big deal at the time because it was a goal. So like the idea of doing nearly double that or more than double that
There you
is
go.
is mental. Yeah. So
Yeah. That is badass. That's so bloody cool. And that's one thing that I love about setting goals is like, what are we doing? That's something you can't do right now. So we're gonna be able to do it. And at one stage you're gonna look back and you're gonna be like, I couldn't do that. That's fucking
yeah.
amazing. And if you do that for long enough, like 2 years, you look back and you go, whoa, what the hell? But the reason that I wanted to say that is because there's a lot of people being, maybe everybody, when we look at people, we see people as fixed things. Like, we look at Eamon O'Connor, for example, amazing runner. Eamon, if you're listening to this, I might get you on the podcast soon. I probably will. You're probably due. Anybody listening to this that knows Eamon, give him a shout. So you know, you look at people like that who are really, really high performers. You say, "Oh, I must have always been this way." It's like, you know, at one stage, no. You know, it's a journey, and so for yourself, it's like to walk in to a PT session, not been able to do a push up, been 15 kilo overweight or wherever it is. You know, can't run 5K, can't deadlift 100 kilo, let alone 170, without ripping your back in two pieces. And so it's like, right, growth is possible. Like this is the main reason I wanted to do these podcasts. Is like I want to give you massive credit for achieving something that so many people are like working their ass off to achieve. And obviously that's not to say that you're the finished product. Like your journey, your best days are probably ahead of you. You know, you'll be looking back at 172 going, "How am I lifting 200? Oh," and so this is it. And so, growth is possible. If you're listening to this and you feel like, "Oh, it's not for me, oh, it's for them, like, oh, it's something they're special," it's like nobody's special. It's hard work that maybe you're not seeing. It's like there's hours and hours and hours and hours. Every successful story, every once in a while, you get a rare breed who comes in and they're just a natural talent. But even then, to sharpen it up and to bring them to what they could be requires hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And so the question that you must ask yourself is like, are you putting in the hours? And so, yeah, it's an important piece of fitness is belief that change is possible. And if you don't have belief, you're going to need faith. Just trust me. Just trust me. Take my word for it. All right. Take my word for it. Results guaranteed. I'll give you your money back. If you put in the hours and you don't get the result, it would only be fair for you to get your money back. So my next question is anybody out there that's struggling, they want to get to where you're getting, they understand that they have to train 4 to 5 times a week, but what do I eat? What's your diet tips? What works for you?
My tips. I don't know. Well, in terms of like, hitting protein, you got to just find what works for you. It was probably something I struggled with at the start, just understanding what I needed to eat at the time. And like I was saying, I'm good with kind of routine and consistency. So once I found the things that worked for me, I was like, right, well, you can modify it, but you basically just keep eating the same sort of variation on the same thing. Like my one thing I would say as well, my breakfast is basically the same. Like essentially 80 to 90% of the time for the last 2 years, my breakfast has been the exact same thing, and that's two Weetabix and a protein shake. And you're setting yourself off with maybe 50 grams of protein straight off the bat. Like, I mean, there's really no need to change that. Like, I feel you can get caught up in the idea that what really no reason why you shouldn't be if it's not doing you any harm,
True.
Yeah. Other than that, I'm not sure necessarily.
So, like for talk's sake, when you want to treat yourself on the weekends, like what is because this is the thing, and obviously, again, I don't want to put you in the spot, and I'm absolutely putting you in the spot here. That's kind of the whole thing of this podcast. So, again, just take a wee second, because what I don't need from you is for you to come up with some kind of amazing strategy. That's like literally just what do you do? Because what you're doing is working. That's the way. And I know that doesn't see like it's like don't try and rewrite it if it's like if it doesn't sound sexy, like for talk's sake, like Weetabix and fucking a protein shake. So far from the last two podcasts I've done, I'm having a Weetabix, a double protein shake. Ursula Noon has a large chicken fillet on a burger bap. It's like so far I'm sussed. It's like I've got 100 grams of protein just from these two podcasts. So amazing, good stuff. Like what about again? Yeah, so treat meals on a weekend. Do you have any strategy? Do you just eat whatever you want?
I wouldn't say I eat whatever I want, but like I've worked it in a way that I know what I can eat. Like I enjoy what I eat, so it's not like I'm restricting myself. Even when I was in a deficit, like I'm not in a deficit anymore. But when I was in the deficit, I just worked out what I could eat. Like I think one of the things as well with tracking, I don't know if this is a tangent or not. It kind of applies, but I would plan planning the day at the start of the day was very important. Like if
Oh,
I
nice.
if I was putting in what I knew I was going to eat, I would know straight away whether I'm going to hit my targets or not. And then I would also know if I have anything left over. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, brilliant.
if I'm hitting the targets first, that's the priority, and then after that, fit whatever you want in. I mean, with 2,000 calories, it's probably not that much to fit in, but now that it's higher and I'm not in a deficit anymore, that becomes easier. But like, I wouldn't say that I'm eating that different to what I was. I have to get a lot more protein in, but that's relatively easy. I think I've gotten into such a habit with all that sort of stuff, like with snacks and just meals in general, that I'm just used to it. So, uh, yeah, I don't know. I think just planning ahead is what the crucial thing is. Like even at the weekends, like it doesn't really necessarily need to change that much. I mean, I enjoy what I eat. And then maybe
Yeah,
there is the odd day when you just, you switch it off. Like that has to happen as well. Like you can't just be a robot all the time. So if you switch it off, then just accept that for that day and then move on the next day, you start again. Like that's literally just what I would do.
so no guilt, no shame for taking days off.
No, it's a waste of time. I mean, maybe at the start I might have felt bad when I first joined, or like but you kind of you either get talked out of that by your coach who tells you, look, these things happen. That's just life. Like I mean, there's no point in worrying about it. Like you've eaten it, so or you've enjoyed it, so that's it. It's done. Move on. And that's just the way I would view it. Like there's no point in being guilty about it. Like if it's just the way it is, a waste of time just being guilty about it. Imagine you've just eaten it, so just move on. Next
So,
day's
so how do you justify it? For example, like, do you justify it as a diet break so you kind of get a rest from the diet? Do you justify it as, oh, listen, I need the energy, or is it just like, you know what, I deserve a treat. I just want a treat. I need it's like another day of vlog, and it's been a long week. I'll just knock that in the head for today.
Yeah, maybe you just hit a point where it just does become tiring to be
Yeah,
tracking all the time. I think that's probably more like maybe there is times you're like, yeah, I could do with a treat, like, and you just go overboard. You have a takeaway, you have your favorite takeaway or whatever, and it just kind of resets the mind. Maybe it just gets it out of your system if you're thinking about it a lot. That's probably a
100%.
benefit as well. Like rather than just restricting the whole time, like maybe you just do need to reset and it doesn't happen very often, but when it does happen, you just gotta accept that, I think. And yeah, I think that's really it. Like,
Yeah, big time. Like for that whole kind of, I need a break from this diet mentality. A lot of people hit that point, and because they've got such shame built up about going off track, is that as soon as they feel that and they do give into that, now they have to detach completely from fitness. And so, because I failed, and so that's a bigger problem than just going, oh, listen, I need a treat today. And people can develop full blown eating disorders, disordered eating, like just get into a really negative headspace because they're afraid to treat themselves, and then ironically end up taking the biscuit and another one and another one and another one and another one and another one, and then ordering Chinese and Domino's. And so it's like it becomes a thing of like, oh, I can't have 1,000 calories, so let's have 9,000 over the course of the next 2 weeks, and then I'll go, okay, now we'll start again. And now you're like 5,000 calories in the hole instead of just being your 1,000 or 1,200 or 1,500 or whatever it is. And that is, to me, that's a sign of maturity with nutrition. It's a maturity in yourself and your understanding of your own biology, and having that knowledge to say, it's like, listen, food is only X amount of calories, and once you're kind of familiar with that, well, then you can make smarter decisions and the pressure comes off. Whereas when you think, oh, bread is a sin. If I've eaten bread, I've thrown off my hormones. It's like, oh, it's not going to work now. I've had a sandwich. Oh, sure, what's the point? Let's have the sliced pan. It's like that becomes a real thing for people. But you're not there, so anyway, don't worry about that. So yeah,
I think that is fair though, like what you're saying about. I think food can be demonized in places like that in different diets and stuff like that, and I don't think that's the case with you guys. You know what I mean? You have your plan, but you're not being told that this is terrible for you. You know what I mean? That's just based on what you said there. I just think some people it can be pushed too much that certain things are bad for you, really bad for you, and this is terrible, and how dare you eat this? But I've
yes,
never felt like that on with you guys. You know what I mean?
yeah, the mentality and the philosophy that I've started to adopt with both mobility and nutrition is, when we spend time in bad positions or when we're eating again, quotation marks, who's listening, not watching, bad foods. There's no such thing as a bad food. There's no such thing as a bad position. The issue, in my opinion anyway, is it is happening at an opportunity cost of something quote unquote better. All right. Now, what is a food that's bad and what's a food that's good? Well, that's context dependent. So a good food is birthday cake at a birthday party. A bad food is a birthday cake at a funeral. Oh, and so again, like the context really, really matters. And so again, birthday cake, when you're just starting your fat loss phase and you really want it and it means a lot to you, is not a good idea. A salad at a birthday party, again, is also a terrible idea. All right. Again, unless specifically in context, you prepped it for you because you don't want to eat it. And so again, it's all contextual. So if you're eating, for example, what are the kids eating these days? I don't know, a KFC. Right. So let's say you're eating a KFC. Well, what are you not eating? Well, you're not getting any fiber. You're not getting any nutrients in terms of micronutrients, and you're probably not getting any electrolytes or any of that kind of stuff. But what are you getting? What are you getting? You're getting something that's quick, convenient, and tasty. And so again, that's important too. Those factors are important and they're contextually important. So that's the bit that we kind of focus on at Fight Fit. It's like, hey, listen, as a broad scope, you've got a goal. I don't have a goal. You came to me. All right, you rang me. I did ring people for a while during lockdown, but for the most part, most people ring me. And so again, most people have goals and they want something, and so the question is it going to move you towards your goal? And sometimes a salad for the 7th day in a row will have the opposite effect, because that was just a straw to press camel back. Now I didn't get any treats. This diet shit, this lifestyle shit. I'm not doing this anymore. Pop, 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 pop. Off I go back to the way things were before. So another consistent habit that's going to be a struggle for a lot of people is steps. How do you manage to fit in all your steps? Do you hit your steps? I assume you do.
Yeah. Just a walk every day, at least one walk. I get out at lunchtime from work for a half hour every day. Yeah, and just keeping that up the weekends as well. Try and get out. If I need to get out for a bit longer, then that's what I do. But yeah, just I think that's just habit as well, though. That's just creating a habit. Like that can be a struggle at the start, but you just have to knuckle down and kind of make the effort to create the habit. Maybe struggle through for a wee while and not hit it, but you're still building a base of that habit, and then eventually it just becomes what you do every day at the same time you go out for a walk, and that's just who you are like that. And then you don't have to think about it anymore. It's kind of like everything else. I feel like I'm saying the same thing, but that's basically like it's basically the same. It is basically the same thing. It works the exact same way.
He does the same workouts. He eats the same food. He says the same things. That's why it works, guys. Listen, this is wise
Very
stuff. All
boring.
right.
It's very boring.
But remember, success is not always sexy. You know,
Yeah.
again, like Muhammad Ali, what people didn't see was the hours and hours and hours on the bag, the hours and hours and hours skipping. What they seen was the Ali shuffle, the rope a dope. It's like that's the sexy bits. And yeah, it's like, listen, you doing high rocks, absolutely smashing it, got the veins pumping in your bicep, loving your life. Nobody sees the Weetabix and the protein shake for the 700th day in a row. It's like, but this is what it is. It's like everybody just cares about the result. The process, I think that you'll find, and especially guys, if you're going to be a consistent listener in this podcast, you're going to find that success, the process is not sexy. The result is, and everybody wants the result. Everybody rings me. Nobody rings me and goes, "Hey, Brandon, can I just do workouts and stay the exact same?" It's like most people want, "Can I just get the result?" No, unfortunately, no. I've got a whole process where we can make it as easy as possible. We can streamline it. It's affordable. It's fun. It's friendly. But you got to do it. And you got to show up and you got to be consistent with it. And there's certain foods you got to eat, and there's certain foods you're going to have to step away from, at least in terms of frequency. And that's it. And so you are living proof. You got to stick with it, even if it bores you. But habits are automatic. So I would say, it's like you get to the point where it's not boring. In fact, it's enjoyable. Am I right?
Yeah.
You
Well,
start to look forward to it.
yeah, you see the benefits of it. That's the thing. Like if someone's telling you to do something and you start doing it, but then you realize that this is actually working and it's beneficial to me, then you just gotta keep doing it. Like, you know what I mean? There's a trust thing there as well, then that builds up. So you see someone tells you to do one thing and it starts working, they tell you to do another thing. You're like, all right, well, I trust that that'll work too. So I
Yeah,
mean, but yeah, it just becomes what you do. Like,
big time.
yeah.
All right, so I've got some fun ones for you now. So, what's your favorite workout song?
Oh my God. At the minute, it's probably Delilah by Fred again. I think it's just a banging tune.
All
And
right, cool.
you need to add it to your playlist.
For sure. As in that's a request for the Fighting Fit playlist.
Yeah, I thought Chris was updating the playlist. I'm not sure if he's done it yet, has he?
Oh, probably not. Chris has very long fingers. But I will go in after this podcast as a podcast gift to you. That will be on the playlist tomorrow. I guarantee. Are we in tomorrow? We are in tomorrow. So right, favorite exercise song is Delilah by Fred. Fred
Fred
again?
again. Fred again,
Fred
yeah.
again. Cool. Excellent. All right. Favorite flavor protein shake?
Strawberry.
Strawberry. Oh,
Natural strawberry, my protein.
love it.
I've gone through a lot, but it's the one that I've stuck with the majority of the time. It's really nice.
Excellent. All right. Guys, 172 kg deadlift, strawberry protein. That's what does it. Strawberry protein and Weetabix. Next, what other supplements do we take, if any?
Creatine
Love
every
it.
day.
Every day.
You told me at some point to start taking it. It would be beneficial, so I started taking it, and I think it has helped. Like it's very hard to kind of gauge some of the stuff maybe that you take, just exactly what it's doing. But I think since I started taking it, it definitely has made a difference. So yeah, that's
Creatine's a tough one as well because like caffeine's something you can just take. I noticed that. Creatine's something that's like it takes a wee while. It also takes a wee while to not feel it. So the come up is gradual and the come down would be gradual. And so again, like, yeah, you may not notice it because it is so gradual, but objectively, if you did look at your performance, there should on paper, at least, in the studies I've shown and a lot of anecdotal evidence as well. Like I definitely notice that I feel the benefit when I'm both on and not on it. And so, yeah, good stuff. It's good that you're taking it. Next one, what is your favorite fitness food? So this can be some kind of fitness, kind of protein pudding, some kind of yogurt, pancakes, or it could be your favorite meal that just moves you in the right direction.
I think if you're going down the snack route, I'd say the protein yogurts, a little strawberry again.
Love it.
Strawberry again. Oh my God.
Strawberry, man.
They're really nice. Mix it in with a bit of fruit, cut a bit of fruit into it, really good. They're protein bars as well. I really like them. I probably have one of them a day if I need it. They're
Aldi, is it?
little.
Little, okay.
Yeah, they're really good. I've probably used them the entire time I've been with you. So
Love
they're
it.
they're just good. I'd rather be eating my protein like in my meals, but if I need to supplement it with a protein bar or a yogurt, then that's good. And I like those. I found what I liked. I tried a lot of things and came back to the same stuff. And it's just the same again, just eating the same things.
Just strawberry. Guys, listen, 12 months' time, we're going to have the podcast again. He's going to be eating strawberries and Weetabix. This is how it's going. All right, cool. Just again, another layer to that. I know you kind of mentioned the snack route. What about the kind of savory route? Do you have a favorite savory fitness meal? I could have left you off the hook, but I'm a foodie. I do love it.
Uh, I don't know. I eat a lot of wraps. Just
Wraps.
cook up some chicken, stick it in a wrap, toast it. Bloody delicious. Doesn't matter what you put on it.
Toasting it's a game changer.
It really is. I only started doing that more recently. Started sticking it in the air fryer for a few minutes, just toast crisps it up nicely. It really actually changed. You wouldn't believe the change
Yeah.
it makes. It's crazy.
Yeah, I can eat it twice as fast once it cools down.
Yeah, no, 100%. But yeah, just I think wraps a lot of the time is what I would come back to.
Nice. Actually, just kind of we're moving away from the fun question just for a second, but just to talk about a little bit, if you have the time, what is the difference between your diet strategy now that you're on a bulk versus when you are on a calorie deficit? How has your experience kind of changed, and how has your structure changed, if anything?
I think the structure in terms of tracking it was kind of the same as what I said earlier, where just you try and plan it as best you can. Like even for being in a bulk, it helps to know hit the protein target probably more than anything else. And
Okay.
then if you're hitting that and you know you're going to hit that, then you have a bit left over. You can just kind of go to town with the 300, 400 calories you have left. You know what I mean? Um,
The bulk of
but
dreams.
the I don't really know. Like maybe some of the meals maybe kind of got a little bit bigger, or like my compared to when I was in the deficit, the protein goal has definitely increased. Like my protein goal is quite high, so I would add a bit more.
What is it? Just out of curiosity.
It's like
210.
200, 203 maybe something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But
a fair chunk of protein.
it is a bloody big chunk of protein. Yeah. But yeah, like I
The
said,
structure's mostly the same. The structure's mostly the same. The portion size increased. You kept the routine, and now you've
yeah,
got more free available snacks after the fact.
yeah, I'd say that's what it is. Yeah, basically, more or less, the meals and stuff might have just increased, but like eh, what was in the meals is basically the same. The meals are
Yeah,
basically just slightly bigger. Yeah,
that's why you're successful, right? That the reason you're successful is because it doesn't matter what we give you. If we can build that initial structure, we can just take out calories and put in calories and add calories. And the adding calories is the fun part. So listen, no issue adding calories. Adding protein is a bit of an issue. And so this is where people fall down on bulks, is that they go from structure with a deficit to no structure on a bulk. It's like, you still have to hit. Actually, you've got a bigger protein requirement now. Do you think you're just going to be able to sit down at the end of the day and get 200 grams of protein? You must be nuts. You're going to need to be regimented about your approach. Sorry, that is just kind of something that I wanted to hammer home on, because I think it is very, very interesting. And it, again, is another kind of another credit to you, the fact that you can maintain structure across disciplines. And so again, that's going to really serve you. For those of you who aren't aware, Nathan's on a bulk now, and once he bulks up and he gets a fair bit of size on him, he's going to have a moderate amount of fat again. And again, then he's going to try and trim away all the fat, or at least a lot of it, and then he'll be left with a quote unquote better shape, more muscular shape. It's easier to build muscle in a surplus. That's why he's moved into a bulk. And so yeah, that's the thinking behind it, and that's what I was curious about. So moving on next.
one thing I would
What's
say
your
actually on that, sorry,
Go on
just
ahead, yeah, tear away, please.
like for the structure and stuff, and trying to hit a protein target, I think it's really useful to have, like we were talking about snacks, but having ones that you like in the house. And if you like you're eating your meals, maybe you didn't track properly, and then you realize at the end of the day, oh, I haven't hit this, I need another 20, 25 grams. You can't just, you can't just like pull something out of a lot of time out of thin air. So I find having stuff there that I already like, that I know I like there's pre-made protein drinks that I like, Kinetica ones, the vanilla ones, 25 grams, bang, like 170 calories or something like that. And it's
Yeah,
just easy. It's easy for 25 grams. Like that's why I think I said to you before, coming out of maybe a tough workout or something. No, you said to me, "Oh, you just need to go home and hit your protein." And I said that was the easy part, and
yeah,
I genuinely meant it in that moment. Like the
yeah.
workouts are rough so a lot of the time, but I've gotten so used to being able to hit those targets that that is easy to me now. And I know it isn't
Brilliant.
easy to everyone. I can sit here and say, oh, it's easy. I'm not saying that it's easy for everyone, but I created the structure that makes it easy for me. And having the stuff around or in the
Love it.
fridge makes it easy. And that's the key for me.
Amazing. So again, just to sum it up, we've got a preparation strategy and a contingency plan. So we'll catch it on both ends. On the front end, we're making sure we're successful, and even then, we've got a contingency plan. Amazing stuff, Nathan. Great
And
style, honestly. And
that's doable for anyone. Like that's not so like I'm not special or anything like that and doing that. Anyone can go and buy those drinks, and you can get them in bulk and put them in the fridge and you have them. Bang. If you like it, that's perfect.
yeah, big time. I suppose the issue with that in some cases can be, again, people get caught up in perfection, and so it's a protein shake, it's not this, it's not that. It's like, hey, listen, it's better than the alternative. It's
Yeah,
going to move you forward, and that's the difference.
yeah, it's a backup, if anything.
Yeah,
Like it's not the priority. My day isn't based around, oh, I'm gonna have those. That's the best thing I can have. They're there if I need them. So
yeah. And again, every once in a while, and why not? Just if I like them, it's like, listen, I don't fancy another chicken fillet today. I'm going to do something nicer and easier, and yeah,
yeah, that's
stress
it.
free. Keep
100%,
keep
yeah.
the head sane. I've got this mental energy has to go towards work, or relationships or whatever. So next thing, Favorite exercise? What's the one you most look forward to?
Least favorite's probably the easier question to answer.
All right, what is it?
Bulgarian split squats, but you probably get that answer every time you ask someone.
I do, but I actually haven't it scheduled for the podcast. That's the new question. What is the least favorite? Bulgarian split squats, I can imagine, is going to get a lot of votes.
Not sure about favorite. Maybe it's just back. I enjoy doing back squats.
Nice.
But maybe that's just like I feel quite confident at them.
Sure.
Squats in general is just a good thing for me, I think.
Yeah, and again, like generally people like what they're good at or what's comfortable for them. Like the last thing you want to be is uncomfortable during exercise. It's bloody hard enough.
Yeah.
Good stuff. And yeah, you do the badass squat. So next one then, running, love or hate it?
I'm learning to love it more than I hate it.
Excellent. Flexible. Are you a flexible guy?
I think I'm not too bad. I think I'm getting there. Like we've done work on it to get better, but I think I've 100% improved from where I would have been
Nice.
2 years ago. But I'm in a pretty good place at the moment.
Nice. You're mobile anyway.
Yeah, but there's always room to improve, literally. But yeah, like we're always working on that as well. It's something that's there all the time as well. So it's always a help to get better at it as well.
100%. And it's also something that's always getting worked against too. I always imagine it's like weeds in the garden. It's like, you go out there, you do a great job, you look at it for an afternoon, you come back the next day, you go, what is that over there? What the fuck is going on? And so again, it's like there's always like because again, like I'm sitting down right now, my body's adapting and morphing constantly. And so we want to give it more stimulus to adapt to the things we want and we don't. And so again, yeah, big time working on it.
Yeah.
Have you ever been seriously or even moderately injured and kind of injured in a exercise capacity? Like if you had a car crash, I suppose we can get into that, but more so knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, crack this, crack that, whatever.
It was never anything like serious, but yeah, like knee pain I did have for a good while. I was able to work through it. It was nothing that stopped me working. And then eventually we kind of had a chat about it and worked out what might have been the problem, like the quads and stuff and rolling, and I got into trying to work that out, and it did work out. That was after a good while. Like I was pushing through it, which maybe isn't that good an idea, but it also wasn't bad enough that I wasn't able to work out. Like it's not as if I was killing myself, but we eventually.
Yeah, it was a niggle.
Yeah, like I think there's a difference. You learn that there's a difference between being in pain and being sore. I think that
Yes.
there's a very. I was going to say there's a fine line. There isn't a fine line. I mean, you've got to just understand whether you should be doing the exercise or you shouldn't. And I think a lot of the time you can mistake the two.
Yes. So 100%. Here's my understanding of it, right? Is that we live in our bodies and we therefore think, I'm the master and commander here. Are you really? Tell me what your nervous system's saying about your knee. Ooh, not sure what is that feeling? Is it pain? Is it discomfort? And so again, our body speaks to us not through English, which is a problem because that's your main method of communication. Another way is, a lot of communication is non-verbal. It's like the body doesn't do any of that. It's a signal, and it is completely personalized to you. At least, like obviously in your body, it's like everybody gets a similar signal, but only you can feel it, and only you can describe it to people. And so if you're a bad interpreter, if you don't understand your body, if you're not in tune with your body, it's like, is that pain? Is that discomfort? What's the difference? And so that's a hard thing to know. And so that's why there's people who study for years and years and get certs and degrees and all doctorates and all that kind of stuff on learning the physiology of the injured person and starting to understand the nervous system. But the more important thing, at least in the short term, is can you interpret the data? And I don't think that it's super, super obvious because it wasn't for me. Like I had tight hips and was running and pushing discomfort. And I communicated to myself that this was weak, unfit hips. And I thought that this was no pain, no gain. It's like it's a terrible, terrible, terrible interpretation of what was actually happening. It wasn't until I stretched and got rid of the pain that I realized, oh, that was not normal. So sometimes we don't know what kind of a mess we're in until we're out of it.
Yeah, no, 100%. I would agree with that. Yeah. You've just got to learn whether you like on a basic level. I'm fit. You know, if you're feeling it someday, you have to understand whether it's bad enough to not go in and train, or if it's just sore and it's just the way it is. Like a lot of the
I mean,
time,
it's so.
it is.
How did you learn?
How did you learn? um, I'm not really sure. I suppose maybe you kind of just work. Maybe you're thick enough to try and push through something that you think might be bad, and then you realize that actually no, maybe it's not really bad. It's just something that needs to be worked out, and that's how you kind of figure it out. And then maybe it goes the other way as well. Maybe you do try and push yourself too much, and then you realize, no, this is actually a terrible idea, and I shouldn't have done that. And that's how
Yeah.
and then it's just trying to figure that out before you seriously do damage to yourself.
I think that's probably how most people learn.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe I'm wrong.
if there really is any other way, I suppose.
This
You
is it.
got
I mean, like, it's all well and good kind of going, oh, listen, yeah, like, listen, I'm not sure what this is. A lot of people are just kind of operating in fear, but a big time is like, listen, it's not until it wears and it wears and it wears and it wears. You go, oh, I think that's fine. I'll push through. And you go, oh, that's like, I'm actually a bit debilitated now. And hopefully, again, it's not severely debilitated, but it's like, you're actually, you know what? Yeah, I'll remember that for next time. That's generally how it goes. And that's how it goes for most things. You know, we normally learned with a bit of a negative reinforcement. Let's say, hey, don't do that. Oh, sorry. Yeah, good idea. All right, so next one. So so the knee pain. So what did you do about it? We foam rolled, we stretched, fantastic stuff. And then any advice, last one of the day, and then I'll let you off the hook. Any advice who is in a rut? They're in the same place you were prior to joining Fighting Fit. They're sitting, they're looking at the phone, saying, will I, won't I? Oh, I want to change my body. I want to get fit, but I just am afraid.
Yeah, all I could say is just do it. Like it's basic, but like I can categorically say that it was the best decision I made for myself. And I'm still sitting here 2 years later and I still think the same thing. I mean, it 100% was the right decision. And if anyone's on the fence, it will be the right decision for you as well. I fully believe that. Yeah, I think what you do is brilliant, and I would recommend it to anyone. And I think it can be applied to anyone. It doesn't matter what shape you're in, how good you think you are, how bad you think you are. Like it will make a difference. It will make a difference to you. And I would just say just go for it.
Good, and I suppose again, just another curious question: what's the difference between Fighting Fit and any other gym or fitness experience you've had in the past?
I think having a coach there or multiple coaches. I mean, like Sam is my coach technically, but I see you like 4 times a week or something like, and it's more or less the same relationship without the communication on the back end, like you know what I mean, the messaging and stuff. But I'm talking to you every day. I'm talking like I talk to her once a week. If there's any problems, I can go to her. Like I think having that I suppose it's accountability that people use would be the word would use, or people would say like if it's needed, it's there. Like there's always someone there if you have a problem. And I think just the workouts in general, I think it's really beneficial to have it planned out. Like that is something that that I find really helpful. And I think the idea of switching to doing it on your own in an open gym would like fry my brain because you would have to plan all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
the benefits of someone else doing that for you, and you rocking up in the morning and going, I know exactly what I'm doing. It's all set out for me. It's and I don't have to think. I just have to do it. I think
yeah.
that's really beneficial. Um, Especially for like there's people who can go into the gym and do that and they'll have it worked out and stuff. But I find that this way it works really well for me. And yeah, I wouldn't change it. No one changed at all.
Good stuff. Well, Nathan, thank you so much. All right, we've made it through. That's a wrap. Thank you so much for taking the time, guys. If you like this podcast, please like it, comment, share it with your friends, share it with your family, anybody you think might benefit from Nathan's wise words and my mad ramblings from time to time. But yeah, guys, thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking the time to listen to this podcast. We know there's many podcasts and you can listen to all them, but you chose to tune in today. So please like and follow all of our channels. We're on Instagram, we're on YouTube. If you follow us and you hit the notification bell on YouTube, you get a notification every time we make a video. If you hit the like button, it really helps us out. We'd really appreciate it. So thank you so much, and a big thank you to you, Nathan, for taking the time out of your busy day and baking treats to chat to me.
No worries. Thanks, Mel. Always a pleasure.
Cool. Guys, have a good one. Peace.
Yo.